Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Boobies and Noobies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and the day we've all been waiting for is finally here. That's right, today is the final day, final holiday story, and final giveaway for the Boobies and Noobies Holiday Spectacular, the 12 Days of Boobsmas. It's day number 12, and we are going out with a bang. That's right, I said bang. Joining me today in the San Francisco Bay Area in my childhood home, which is only a little bit awkward, for the final day of the boobtastic joy, are two incredibly stunning, incredibly busy ladies. I've known one of them since high school, and I met the other one for the first time tonight. They're besties, they're social media style influencers, and they're cute as hell. Give it up for Vintage or Tacky's Cora Dianne and Musings of a Fox, Gabrielle Dooha-Chambers. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
I don't think I've actually seen Gabrielle since high school.
I don't think so. It's one of those Facebook. We've been staying in touch through Facebook and Instagram. So
Yeah.
I know what's going on with you.
Right.
We haven't
But
seen
it's
you're
been
busy in
that
Chicago.
long.
Yeah, you've been busy in Chicago and LA and living a crazy, fantastic life, and I'm just here.
And I keep up.
Oh, please.
I keep up with your life with every time your hair's a different color. You know, it's like a new time of year, new chapter in your life.
New you, new do.
Yes. And then tell me, how did you guys meet?
She stalked me.
I stalked
and wore me
Yes.
down.
Yes.
And then I stalked her right back.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
really, honestly, somebody should make a romance novel out of it.
It really is.
Really
It's a
sweet
modern day
story.
love story.
Yeah, there's just no sex.
Yeah, no.
Heterosexual friendship
A
love
cis-mance?
story.
Instead of romance, like a cis-mance?
Well, I don't know if I like the way cis sounds.
But so Cora's been doing YouTube for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been watching her for a really long time, and I happened to walk into the Mac store that she was working in, but I was with my mom, so I had to prep my mom that I was about to meet Vintage or Tacky and we need to be cool. And then I was a total dork and fangirled all over
Of
Cora.
course.
But she helped me pick out eyeshadows, and then I kind of just Twitter harassed her to make sure she didn't forget that I was the girl who fangirled, and then I worked at Barnes Noble in Emeryville,
And I would go in all the time because I'm like, that's that girl that bought all that eyeshadow for me at one time.
This really is like a romance, though. It's the meet cute, but you had the
really
meet
is.
cute at Sephora and then the meet cute at Barnes and Noble.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it was my last week working there when we met.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Serendipitous.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no, then we kept running into each other, and then one day we ran into each other on Park Street, and she kind of invited herself to lunch.
I said, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And she said,
We were going to lunch.
and I said, why don't we both go to lunch together and stop being fake friends and start being real friends?
Yeah, she actually said that. She
Well,
said, let's start, let's be
When you
real
run
friends.
into each other that many times, I feel like it's destined.
Also, our husbands are twins.
Yeah, which is creepy.
It's really weird. It was a complete accident. But everywhere they go, they're like, oh my god, you guys twinsies? It's like,
No.
Oh my gosh. So do they hang out just as much as you guys hang out?
Yeah.
You're a sitcom.
Yeah.
It really
We
are.
should be. We should do a TLC show or
It
something.
really is. It is sitcom. I love it.
Yeah.
Or it could be like a funny rom-com dirty book, That's Not My Dick.
That has happened when we've been tipsy and you walk up to one of the guys and you're like, no, that's
Rub
not
somebody's
mine.
back and you're like, that's not the right back.
We'll write it, and then we'll read it and review it for the show.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So before we dive into the book, why don't you both give us a little info about how we can find you and what you do on the internet, because you both do such wonderful things, and sometimes you do them together, sometimes you do them separately, but I love following you both, so I want everyone to follow you too.
Would you like to go first? So my main thing is my YouTube channel, Musings of a Fox. I do oh gosh. I do makeup tutorials. I do fashion videos. But my real passion project is this series on body positivity and exploring what it means to different people. And I'm really excited because the next episode in the series is actually going to be a video with my sister who has cerebral palsy. So we're going to talk about having a disability and being a plus size person and how it all mixes together or doesn't mix together. And so it's going to be really cool. And so I'm excited to start the new year with this really exciting video. And
that's awesome.
Also make my sister talk on the internet.
Yes. And how can people find you on YouTube, Instagram, wherever? Like, where can they follow?
Okay, so YouTube is youtube.com/MusingsOfVox. Twitter is also @MusingsOfVox, and so is Instagram.
Nice and simple across the boards.
Yeah, Facebook gets weird because it's the Musings of a Fox.
Oh.
Someone snatched that one.
You just wanted to give them more of a challenge on Facebook.
But yeah, so I live on my YouTube channel and my Instagram where I also, I post
Awesome.
lots of photos of my new kittens.
Yay! Well, perfect. So style, fashion, body positivity, and kittens.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect combo.
Guess I'm up then.
Cora, what are you doing?
Take it away, Cora.
So for 11 years, I was a beauty guru and fashion chick on YouTube, and I guess I still am. I'm just in the process currently of kind of revamping how I do everything. So it feels weird to even say beauty guru because it's like I'm like the antithesis of that now.
But that's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing, and I really have been for a long time, but I'm kind of putting my line in the sand. But I do also makeup tutorials, fashion, but now I'm going in a more sustainably driven
Great.
line of content. So instead of just focusing on buying whatever the new fast fashion thing in both makeup and clothing, because let's be honest, like makeup at this point is kind of like fast fashion. It's very disposable.
Right.
And it's kind of grossing me out at this point. Not just because of how much I realized I was hoarding, but I was promoting that to other people. So this is turning into a whole diatribe about that, and it doesn't need to. But you can find me on YouTube at Vintage or Tacky or Cora Dianne. And pretty much all my other social media things are either Vintage or Tacky or Cora Dianne.
Right.
So just Google me, baby.
You'll find her one way or the other, or she'll find you on Park Street or at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah,
or
I'll be like, let's be real friends.
And then she'll make you go to lunch.
Let's get to where people will stop being polite and start getting real.
No, but like for real, when did people stop going up to people and just like saying hello?
Yeah.
That's like not a
I know,
thing.
it's so weird.
That's honestly what we try and like encourage people with kind of like our friendship story. It's really, she was someone I admired and someone I thought was like untouchable just because you were like an internet like phenomenon. And so when I found out that you were a real actual dork in real life, it was really, reassuring.
Because whenever I hear that, I go, oh, geez, I've got these people fooled. Thinking I'm cool. I know I'm a dork. I know I'm just like a goober, and it's hard for anybody to make friends. Yeah. So I was also like really excited that like when I like tried to be friends with you, that you weren't a weirdo.
Yeah. No, I am a weirdo.
No weirdos. Great. It's like that thing they do in like Us magazine. Stars. They're real people too. They also
just
go
like us. They wash their laundry.
They go grocery shopping
for a photo op.
My favorite is that there's always somebody getting a parking ticket or a speeding ticket. Like, oh yeah, and then turn a little bit to the left. This is my good side, officer. Like, there you go. Awesome. Okay, well, before we dive into the book itself, let's talk about the holidays. They are very much upon us, whether you want them to be or not. Do you feel the stress when the holidays come up, or are you somebody that like dives into the holidays, like super excited? Because I know I love the holidays and I don't really think of them as stressful, but I know a lot of people like work right up until Christmas, or, they just feel the pressure of getting the presents and seeing family and traveling. So where do you guys fall on that scale?
I definitely am someone who loves the holidays. My husband kind of hates the holidays because I have a really big family, and so it means a lot of parties and a lot of events to go to, and he's a bit of a homebody, but I love it. I'm one of those, I don't get my tree after Thanksgiving. I like to get it the first week of December. Even though I'm Jewish, I have to have a tree. I grew up with a tree, and so I do both Hanukkah and Christmas. So
Yay!
And Hanukkah started in November, so I got like both. I started a little early, and so yeah, I'm a big holiday person, and I actually don't have any of my presents bought yet, except your husband's.
Oh my gosh!
We don't have any bought yet, except for your husband's. I swear.
So
actually,
good.
I bought you one little tiny thing.
Oh my gosh.
So
So
you're slacking.
do you thrive off of that added pressure at the end? Like, oh, I've got that extra deadline. Like, I got to get them all today.
This is my first unprepared year. I'm usually much more prepared. December kind of just really tripped up on me. I had no, like, I was like, oh, I have playtime, and then I realized, like, what day it was. I'm like, oh, I have no time. It's just kind of gotten away from me this year. But usually I'm a much bigger planner. I have, like, a big shopping day, and I've done none of that, but I have my tree and I love it. And I come home every day and I turn the lights on, and we have one of those tree toppers that projects onto the ceiling now. And then
That's
of
cool.
course there's the kittens in there. It's their first tree ever, and so
you've got the spirit.
Yeah.
You've got the spirit is alive, even if there's nothing under the tree except cats.
Yeah. That's honestly there are.
That's probably the best gift you could have under the
right
tree.
now, yeah, they're amazing.
How about you, Cora?
Well, I have had some life events that have made the holidays stressful for me for a number of years.
Gotcha.
But this was the first year I, like, really kind of felt like I was into it. I was
Okay.
like, oh, yeah, let's watch Christmas movies. Let's put the tree up. Like, it didn't really feel like December even until the tree was up. So the other kind of flip side to that is that my family is pagan. So we actually celebrated Yule and Christmas because, I mean, if you live in America, you kind of, like, have to celebrate Christmas in some way. It seems like, anyway.
It's, like, unavoidable at this point.
It's unavoidable. Yeah, and just kind of any holiday thing that happens in December, we just kind of call it Christmas. So for us, it was sort of like a 3-day event. It was like, when does Yule happen? Okay, between that and Christmas, it's Christmas.
Right.
I find it stressful to make sure that I have all the bases covered. I have lots of nieces and nephews. So making sure that we're even Stevens with the kids is the thing that's stressful. And I can imagine that's very stressful for parents out there. So everyone who has little ones, I hear you, I see you. I don't fully understand because they're not my Rugrats, but I get it. It's hard.
We're at the point in our family, too, where we don't have kids, like, running around anymore. Like, all the younger cousins and stuff, they're all, I think the youngest one is 19.
Oh, so you're totally out of it.
Yeah, so I'm at the point where none of me and my cousins are not married. Nobody has kids yet. So it's really like the awkward, like, well, are we part of the adult side now? Like, do we also do the Secret Santa with the family, or, you know, do you want to stay in the kids pool? Because when you're a kid in my family, all the adults buy you presents. But if you're an adult in my family, the adults do Secret Santa and only buy one person a present. So I'm kind of enjoying being a child.
Yeah, child as long as you can. Yes.
Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, the kids these days, they're hard to shop for.
They're hard to shop for because they're sort of cynical. They have everything.
Yeah.
And on top of that, a lot of what they're interested in is digital stuff. So it's
right.
like, I want to buy you a thing. What thing do I buy a kid who only wants to play video games?
Yeah. I know. They're all about their stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid stuff.
Little.
Get out there and enjoy the sunshine,
kids.
children.
They wouldn't be listening. That's
Good heavens.
And I need therapy.
What's one thing that you're both really looking forward to for what we have left of the holiday season?
My family from New York always comes in, so they're arriving this week. So that means that, like, everyone will finally be together, and that's when officially, like, it feels like the holidays when they get here. Because we had one year where they couldn't come out, and, like, no one felt like Christmas. So the fact that, like, they're on their way.
So they bring the fun then. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. That family from New York is bringing it.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to see them and just get to spend time with them. And it's like, yeah, it just feels like home is like finally put together whenever they get here. So now I'm gonna make my cousin listen to this so she can hear how mushy I feel about her.
I feel like for me, actually the day after Christmas is always my favorite because it's the day that, like, you can just be at home and nobody expects you to do anything. But, like, the tree is still up. You've unwrapped whatever presents. I usually get 1 or 2 books for Christmas, and so I spend the day reading them. Just reading.
In your pajamas.
Yes. Don't have to shower. Very excited about
this sounds great.
You know, I don't get that.
I have been doing this wrong. Like, December 26th, I'm going to have to reconsider this year because that sounds fantastic.
That's what I did for Christmas one year. I got you, like a Kindle gift card, and
yes,
coffee mug so that she could drink her.
And now you know what she was doing with that Kindle gift card. It was going to good use.
Exactly.
Good use. Okay, well, speaking of Kindle gift cards going to good use, let us talk about today's reading selection, which is All I Want for Christmas is a Cowboy by Jessica Clare. And this is actually one of 2 novels we're reviewing for the Christmas special. Most of them have been shorter novella stories, but we decided to tackle the big boy for this last one. And this book came out in November 2018, this year, so just a month ago, and it's available on Amazon, $7.99 Kindle edition. There you go. So before reading our fabulous Cowboy story, had either of you read a romance novel before?
We're gonna giggle about this.
Giggle.
So, I hope you don't mind me outing you. Cora and I are actually big, like, erotica readers.
Okay.
Like, full-on, like, erotica. I've dabbled in a few romances. Obviously, I read 50 Shades of Grey. I worked at a bookstore, so I wanted to, like, be able to give, like, an example. But for the most part, I actually read... They're definitely, like, adult romance, like a little bit like erotic books, but they usually have like a supernatural twist, so they're usually in the sci-fi section.
Okay.
So I really love like the True Blood series, which definitely has some hot, sexy romance while having like mysteries and creatures.
Yeah.
And then the Anita Blake series by Laurel K. Hamilton, where like she starts out being like a vampire like creature hunter.
Okay.
And then like the series kind of devolves into just crazy were-animal sex orgy. I actually had to stop reading the series because like it was just a few too many like were orgies going on. But like there definitely is like I like books where there's like a mystery going on, but then like some really hot sex. So
okay,
I want the story to be more than just the couple. I want something to be going on, but I want like a good.
So more of like stories where like there's definitely like a romantic storyline, but like maybe it's not like at the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, like, but they have, like, graphic scenes. They're not just, like, settle, like, and they close the door and ha-ha. No, like, I want to know what's happening behind the door. But I also want you to solve, like, the mysterious murders in your town that are being done by werewolves and vampires.
Yeah. I just, a little bit of all of it. Why do I only get one or the other?
You want a good, well-balanced cheese plate of all of it.
But I also do like read typically like murder mysteries are like my main kind of reading books. Like I really love J.K. Rowling's like Cormoran Strike series.
Nice.
Which is like so much like romantic tension that is like has not paid off after 4 books, and I'm just like dying. So I'm like, this is why I have to read the books where it pays off.
Yeah, well, it's what keeps you reading too. Like
does.
honestly, in this one, I thought there was some really good tension too.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I get that. How about you, Cora? Do you have any favorites?
Well, I don't really read the romance genre. I am a huge fan of the Sookie Stackhouse series.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
True Blood. That is my all-time favorite. I don't know if I would classify that as romance per se.
You usually won't find it in the romance section. It's usually in the sci-fi fantasy section.
See, like, for me, like, the whole thing is, like, it is a series of romances that she has with multiple men, and it's super hot.
Right.
And also, the description of sex I really liked in those, because it was always, like, a taste, but it wasn't, like, gratuitous, necessarily. Yeah. Because I feel like when I'm reading a story, I'm not necessarily looking for super hot and dirty sex. Like, 'cause I feel like that is, like, a different type of consumption for me. So, like, when I read sexy stuff, it's usually something like Anais Nin, where it's really well written, and really dirty. But I do tend to like the ones where there is a little bit more of a story arc to it, because it builds the tension, and then when you have the release, it's so much better.
Yes. We'll be right back to discuss the book, but first, check out this promo for Fatalities Podcast.
Are you a true crime junkie? Do you talk about true crime with your friends all of the time? And are there cases that have stuck with you for so many years because of geographic or emotional closeness? If so, then welcome to Fatalities. I'm Elisa Lucas, and this is the podcast where I explore true crime cases over tea with the help of my friends. Because without tea, friends, and good conversation, there's nothing but darkness and chaos. So grab a warm cup of tea and join me as my friends and I discuss the cases that have struck a chord with us and the related issues that might help us understand why such horrible crimes have occurred. The podcast is dropped every other Wednesday and is available on such podcatchers as Apple, Podbean, Spotify, and so much more. You may follow Fatalities on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, but don't forget that Teas is spelled T-E-A-S, because here is where we spill the tea.
Well, okay, I'm very interested then to hear what you both have to say about this book, coming from having at least a little experience reading, you know, whether you want to call it romance or erotica. I think there's definitely elements of that.
It's a lot of experience reading erotica.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is a little bit of a difference between romance and erotica.
Agreed.
Where, like, erotica can just, like, sometimes it's, like, the first page, it's, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, erotica definitely has a means to an end.
I feel like it has a heavier focus on the sexual content as opposed to, like Cora was saying, there being like a structured story arc.
This is like actually kind of like a refreshing. Oh, I don't want to spoil my part. It was really interesting, like being used to like murder mysteries with really sexual elements, like reading erotica, and then having this where it was just definitely like different, and so it was really refreshing to get to read this. And it wasn't like a bodice ripper, like I was expecting like a bodice, Fabio on the cover and all that. And
there's plenty of those too.
I'm curious.
I'm not gonna lie. Can we just start talking about the book? Is that okay?
Here, let me give a brief synopsis just so everybody knows the book somewhat, and then you can talk until your heart's content. So let's go from here, and this is just the Amazon synopsis of the book. Christmas may be coming, but it's just another day at the ranch as far as Eli Pickett is concerned. Pause for giggles at the name Eli Pickett.
Horrible.
Ooh, two T's. Someone has to take care of the herd, and that means no holiday vacation for him, but that's just the way he likes it. It's not like he has a woman to spend time with anyways. Most women don't want the ranch life or the surly, silent cowboy that comes with it. Fine with him. He'd rather have the quiet of the roaring fire and the company of his dogs. My kind of man. Cassandra Horn, pause for giggles at the name Cassandra Horn, is trying to make it to her parents' winter cabin in Wyoming before the blizzard hits. She desperately needs a vacation from the chaos of Manhattan and her boss's boyfriend, who is making her life miserable. But Cass never makes it to the cabin. A raging snowstorm causes her car to crash, where she's found unconscious by Eli. When Cass wakes, she has no memories of who she is. Eli takes one look at Cass's big blue eyes and dark curls, and like a Christmas miracle, falls head over heels in love. But while the attraction is mutual, can she give her heart to this cowboy if she's not sure it's hers to give? Whew, that is one hell of a synopsis.
Ruined like half the book.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, but I feel like you could have said all that in like 2 sentences. Like, she leaves to get away and crashes her car and he finds her and she doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
Done. That being said, go ahead, ladies. Cora was like ready to dive in, so I'd love to, without prompting you, just hear what you have to say, Cora.
I feel like after you've read that synopsis, you're ready for the sex. Like, you're like, okay, so I got the setup.
Yeah.
So then when I was reading it, I was like, okay, so the sex is gonna happen now, and it's gonna happen now, right? So I kept waiting for it, and then I started to get in my head, okay, this is a romance novel. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe you're just thinking too dirty. And then it was something about a respectful cock, and I was like, whoa. That was like the first, real, sexual word. I was like, whoa.
Yes. No, it's true.
Word.
And you know what? We have read several stories, specifically for the Christmas special, where there either is no sex, or there's they allude to them having sex, but there's not actually it written out for you.
We run fronts.
And so I know that that's definitely there. But the minute they threw in a couple cocks, I was like, "Oh shit! No, it's not that kind of book."
He had to tell his cock to be respectful.
Yeah, gotta be respectful.
Yeah, I didn't know what we were getting quite into because I've listened to the podcast, so I know that they can range. And I was just like, well, I don't know if what Kelly thinks of me and whether she thinks I'm prepared. And then I saw that, and then the sex scenes, I'm like, okay, Kelly, we're adults now. We're not 12 anymore.
Oh no, girl, no. Girl.
I never even thought about that. This is your childhood friend who's here, read this erotica.
Which was not my intention. Honestly, I saw it. I was picking out holiday books. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, what a nice, wholesome cowboy on the cover of this snowscape. And
cowboy's never just a cowboy.
And you know what? It could have gone either way. Honestly, like Cora was saying, I kept kind of waiting for something to happen. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe it's not going to be that kind of story. Okay. But it becomes that kind of story.
Yeah. Pretty, like happily graphic. I don't feel like it ever gets disgusting or it doesn't. It's not the eggnog story.
You're right. It was not the eggnog story.
But,
no eggnogging to be had. Although they do mention eggnog at one point. Like Cass says, like, maybe I'll make eggnog. And I was like, oh shit, I'm having flashbacks. I am having flashbacks.
Oh no.
Whew.
Checking the author and make sure it's not written by the same person.
But yeah, Cora kept texting me and being like, and this is where I would have sex. And this is who I would like.
Yeah, I started reading it slightly before Gabrielle. I'm a really slow reader, so I just finished it today. That's why I had to start reading it so far in advance.
I devoured it in 2 days.
Yeah, and then, so I had been texting her like, oh my god, they're still not fucking. They're still not fucking. They're still not fucking. And then when there was like the cock, I was like, hey.
Oh, there's a cock.
There's a cock.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's something's gonna come.
It's coming yet, but it's gonna.
It's still good. Like, I think if I have, and there's only like 2 major complaints I have with the book, and one of them is that there's obviously like this tension and electricity, but like just to like eke it out, they have that whole like, oh, I don't know if she's interested in me, or I can't force myself upon her, and he's being really respectful, and because again she has a brain injury, and she
hashtag woke babe wins.
Yeah. And he's being like really nice, but like he's just like so insecure when she's pretty like sexually confident and like saying things.
Wait, you have to remember her last name is Cassandra Horn.
Well, no, but you're right, because I did like that it was a very kind of topical book in that you have this whole setup where her boss, who's a model and she's the personal assistant for, her boss's boyfriend has been harassing her for a long time. And I was like, hashtag me too. What up in here? Yeah. But so it's nice to have kind of that juxtaposition with him. And then you meet this Eli Pickett, who is just so not that. I mean, but you're right. I mean, it's so bad. I was like, God, stop being respectful. Yeah. Like, just kiss her already, you know?
Still on a, like, is there any way I can make it up to you? And he doesn't, like, jump on it.
And she offers to shower.
He does think that, though. He's like, I thought a dirty thought. It's not right.
I know you can't say anything from him without an accent. Like, just because you're like,
it's
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Of all people.
At 32, he sounds like Sam Elliott.
So he looks like Jerry Jared from Sex and the City to me.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Like the washboard abs, the kind of like devilish.
But he sounds like
Sam Elliott.
Boy,
I tell you what.
What a mix. What a mix. He looks like Jerry Jared and
it doesn't work if you think about it too
like
much.
Sam Elliott.
A lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do with the 12-year sex drive he had.
Also, my high school boyfriend, like, we broke up because he wanted to move to Wyoming, and I knew I wouldn't want to. And I mean, it's like,
now look at him now.
He changed his name to Eli. Now this bitch is writing him.
Oh my God. Well, and you know what? I kept thinking that there was going to be like this sob story about why he was like so insecure and shy. And I mean, there kind of is one. It's like he came home from the army and found his girlfriend in bed with not one, but 2 dudes.
Yeah, that's a lot of dick.
Yeah. And then, but then he hasn't had sex in 12 years since then.
Yeah.
I was like, and I didn't realize that was actually the case until she said, like, I can't believe you haven't had sex in 12 years. And I was like, what?
That's true.
I was waiting to be like, oh, there was girls in town that he dated, but like he didn't actually go all the way with them. And I'm like,
I kept expecting him to be like, well, it's not like I was celibate.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. I was like, well, I'm sure he's like hooked up with somebody since then, you know, but guess not when you've just got the dogs and Maria and the cattle.
Maria was like his mom.
I love Maria.
Oh my gosh, she's my favorite.
What was the other thing that irked you?
So there's a trope I hate.
Okay.
And that's dramatic irony. Like, I like dramatic irony when, like, someone's getting, like, their revenge and there's a twist. But, it's skipping ahead, but, when she thinks that she's with Ken.
Yeah.
Because, and then she flees, and, like, I'm that person. So I've been with my husband for almost 11 years now, and communication is key to be together that long. And so whatever brain thought I have, he and I talk out.
Right.
So the fact that she couldn't go to him and be like, I found these weird text messages, and I'm worried that, like, I'm not single, or like just communication.
Yeah.
And then she flees and cries, and it's just kind of like, this is not the same woman who can ask for sex and ask for these things she wants to have this agency.
Yeah, she's so brazen and forward and aggressive in so many ways, and then in other ways, you're right, she runs away. She doesn't confront her problems. She doesn't say anything.
But at least Eli is like, hey, don't run from me and talk to me. You could have talked. Like, so at least he's saying, like, that was a dumb move, and so hopefully, like, going on that they, like, but that just makes me so mad when people don't trust their partner that they're like trusting their body with, but you can't trust, like, he could have easily been like, okay, well, you're dreaming with that guy, but like, then leave him. You obviously can leave and just stay here and we'll be together and I'll be fine. Like,
it's true.
But the fact that you couldn't just tell him and talk it out, she had to be dramatic and like put herself in that situation, just stressed me out, because we know she's not with him. So it's like so it's
you're like, don't do it.
Yeah, and like the romantic in me is like, okay, so what if you're with Ken? Read that text thread and see that you haven't been writing him, so obviously you don't, even if he was your boyfriend, you're obviously not that big on it. You know? So that part kind of bothered me, how she wasn't just like, didn't just exactly what Gabrielle just said, like, that she didn't just talk to him, because that to me didn't really ring true.
Well, especially after, like, part of me is like, okay, I can forgive it because they've only been like here at this house, like, together for a couple weeks. Yeah. But at the same time, they've also said, I love you. Mm-hmm. They've had sex with each other. I mean, they've jumped straight into relationship mode where it's at the point where you should be able to say stuff like that. So you're right. It is a weird.
But they've talked about so many other deep things. It's like, even, I think he would understand, because she has a head injury. You'd be like, I don't know what these text messages mean. I need to go find out. Even just that, but just to like, I have to
she
go.
was like incommunicado completely.
Yeah,
like,
and
just, I'm leaving by, and it's like, she
doesn't say anything. And even when she leaves, he's like, that's fine. I will be here. I will be waiting for you.
For you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God. Me and the puppies will be here for you, baby. Don't call me baby.
Oh my God, yeah. The thing, she's like, I didn't think I deserved you. I have this thing that, like, that makes me nuts. Even though technically it was in my husband's vows, where he was like, I hope I become, like, the man you deserve. And it's that, like, everyone loved that line and, like, cried about it. It drives me nuts, because that makes me feel that everyone deserves to be loved, no matter, like, what you do. Yeah. And so the fact that, like, someone wouldn't deserve someone, like, that guy go, you need therapy.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, it just, obviously she has lots of issues without having her memory.
The fact that she would even have this job proves to me that, like, she's got issues.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and like, when she's back in New York and she's all, ew, my life sucks. I'm like, yeah, your life does suck. Get the F out of there.
And you're just, like, and it's not like she's just realizing it. Like, she knew it before. Like, she knew it before she went away. It's why she left to go to Wyoming. That was my thing, is I really did enjoy the story overall. I really did.
Fun. We lucked out
on it, but we actually really liked it.
I think we lucked out versus, like, a lot of the books.
I think we did too.
I was happy to have read it.
This is something I would reread. This is something I would recommend to people. Like, I really enjoyed it. No, and it was one of those things where I had to think about, like, okay, what didn't I love? Like, what is something that I, wasn't my favorite? And I thought about it, and I was like, I think this is one of those stories where, and this is rare, but I really liked his arc more than I liked hers, in that I feel like he has a very clear one. Like, he starts off, he's very moody. He likes being by himself, but at the same time not. Like, he tells her, I really didn't want to stay here by myself. I just didn't want to tell anybody, and I didn't know who to tell, and the only people I have are these people at this ranch, and they're all leaving, and you see how she affects him, and he starts joking and smiling, and and then even by the end, he's willing to let her go, thinking and believing that she'll come back. Like, so I really did love his arc. Hers, it was fine. I feel like she just kind of, I liked her as a person. Like, I found her very entertaining. I was like, I could hang out with her. Yeah. She loves Christmas. She, wants to decorate, and she wants to cook, but she's terrible at it. Like, really terrible.
Oh my God. I don't know how you hurt yourself that bad opening a package of bacon.
Right?
I just kept laughing. I don't know. I kept highlighting lines.
The mechanics of
stabbing yourself while opening a packet of bacon. But yeah, and she messed up. What does she messed up? Pancakes.
Cookies.
Yeah, the gingerbread cookies end up looking like monsters. Bacon and eggs.
And let's be honest, her egg salad sandwich wasn't winning a prize at the county fair either.
I don't know why she thought that would be so easy. Like, I'm a pretty good cook, and I don't even know how to begin with an egg salad. And she's like, I could do this. And I'm like,
girl, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Obviously, it's not that easy because she's still
all I'm saying is my cowboy would be well fed. In more ways than one.
I did laugh because this is the second cowboy romance we've read where the woman in it is the one coming to the farm, right? It's got to be the male cowboy.
It's not a farm, it's a ranch.
Oh, it's a ranch. Oh my gosh.
Good
I feel like Cass. I feel like Cass Horn.
To any real ranch.
But he never actually says it. See, he's all polite. He's like, if she only knew what an insult was.
But this is the second one where the woman makes this really special bond connection with the chickens. I just thought that was so funny.
Chicken.
I guess I was like the woman and the female hens. I don't know.
Your body is weak and soft from living in the city, but you could probably handle the chicken.
There's
not
nothing
the
magical
horses.
about chickens. Like, I watched like a live stream of eggs hatching once, and then became obsessed with the chicken I watched be born, and like followed her for a year.
Oh,
so there's something magical
God.
about chickens when you give them a chance. Like, they're really
Well, and she
incredible.
says that, like, so I have to give Jessica Clare credit too. I think she has the funniest opening lines of chapters that I've ever read. Like, every chapter would start really funny. Like, it would just have the one-liner that I'm like, oh my God.
It
But,
kind of
like,
immediately sets a scene, too.
yeah, like, and one of the ones is about how she's like, so excited to feed the chickens. And then, like, the first line is, well, it didn't take long for me to realize chickens are assholes.
Yeah, that element sort of reminded me a little bit of the Sookie Stackhouse series.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I liked about this is that so much of the way that Charlene Harris, who wrote the Sookie Stackhouse series, writes is it's all in Sookie's head. It's very cerebral and it's very like just flow of consciousness thought.
Right.
And that's what I liked about this is that it was the characters' sort of inner monologues. And you kind of really got a sense of where they were coming from. And I did like the fact that it was from both of their perspectives.
Oh my
as
God.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, so much.
Like, if it had been straight up just from her perspective, or even just from his perspective, I think it would have been not as interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes, like, the dual perspective is, like, too much, you know, but I think it was a good balance, and you really do get to know. It's rare that you read a romance with so much narration, I feel like, as opposed to, usually there's a lot more dialogue, and I think maybe because this one is just two characters for the most part, there's definitely not, but I found it refreshing that you see them each kind of by themselves as well as with each other. Usually they're just together all the time, like if they're stranded in a cabin, you know, it's them talking all the time.
And that's so claustrophobic.
Yeah, and this was nice though. It's because you got to see her in her own space and the way she's handling this head injury and like, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? And you see him and how he's processing this whole idea of like opening his heart again to someone. And yeah, it was really refreshing.
Yeah, it had a lot of like heart and depth because it wasn't just about like, I mean, we all wanted them to smash, of course, but like it wasn't just about like who necessarily always about who they were in relation to the other character.
Yeah.
It was like Cass figuring out what she wanted to do with life and what would make her happy. So yeah, Eli was part of what would make her happy, but also like moving to a ranch in Wyoming is a big decision to go from New York, where she's like, I'm in this city and I feel really lonely.
Right.
Even though I'm hearing all these noises, like I'm lonely, and so that's really great that like it wasn't like I just want to be with that man, and like sure, I honestly don't have a problem when people really have a connection and want to be with each other, but she was choosing a whole very different kind of life, and she was game for it. She put the effort in to get up and help with the chickens. It wasn't like I'm just gonna lay here and be pretty until he comes back and has sex with me. It was no, I want to help.
Up at dawn.
She started mucking the stalls for the horses,
Right.
and I've done that. It's gross.
And she would feel
I don't care
guilty
how
if she
hot a
didn't.
Cowboy is.
Yeah.
No, it's
not worth it, huh?
Physical
No, I totally
labor.
get it.
And so, like, I think I love that it wasn't just about being with him. It was about being part of that lifestyle and helping, like, actually make a ranch run. And so I was just really heartened and happy to, like, be reading this book where I didn't feel like it was all about them mooning over each other. It was like, no, this is my life, and, like, I'm going to get through my chores so I can be with you, but this is still my responsibility. And
Finding yourself, too.
I did really like how responsible he was.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was like, oh, you're a grown grown up.
He was
Yeah,
really
love those
responsible.
songs, baby. And he can cook too. Just saying. I mean, it's,
better than her at least.
Michelin, but
Also,
I'll take
I
it.
love that he, like, I think there's that, especially in California, we get that stereotype of what ranch people are like, or farm people are like, and so the fact that he was totally okay with a woman not knowing how to cook, and he didn't undermine her femininity or her, like, anything that, like, didn't make her
It
less
was
or
like,
something.
you've had a head injury, also your eggs suck.
Yeah.
I will cook.
And it wasn't too overbearing too of like, I need to take care of you. Like it wasn't
genuine concern.
very alpha. It wasn't, it was nice. He was a good guy. I mean, he
like
really
an
was.
Alpha beta.
Alpha beta.
Because I recently, in preparation for this, watched a video about the science behind romance novels and how there's typically like an alpha male that's like strong and rugged, or there's like a beta male where like he's relatable, whereas he was kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah, and I feel like he was beta until she brought out like the alpha
she was
in
like,
him.
and I want your D, and then he's like, oh, you want it? Oh, you're gonna get it.
But she was totally more of the alpha in the relationship, which is so different.
He also didn't criticize her for being like a sexual person. He didn't be like, oh my god, she's must have slept with a like. He didn't make any comments about her like strong sexual confidence. It was kind of like, okay, like
go with it.
She wasn't also like aggressive or there wasn't like a power imbalance. I think that's honestly the thing I liked most about it, is that I didn't feel like there was a power imbalance, even though like she was injured and she was like stuck along with him. Like he was super respectful.
Yeah.
The only part that like breaks my heart of like the dreaminess of it is that this is a female author. So of course she's gonna write like our fantasy man. We want a man who's like, I really wish like male authors would write like this instead of the way like George R. R. Martin writes.
Amen. No, and it's true.
So it's like ooh, woke babe, but like of course it's coming from like a woman's. One of my favorite quotes is like about just respecting like women's different bodies and how women have pleasure and their pleasure is different, and it's like, but it's like of course it's coming from a woman, so of course like she knows
what
that.
What we need to do
is
like, just put these books under men's noses.
Yeah.
Hi.
Very true. Yeah.
Maybe don't have. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but maybe not separate them into this whole other bookshelf. I always find it interesting when you go to certain bookstores and there will be a romance section, and then in other bookstores there isn't. And so I'm like, okay, do they just not have romance? Like, what? I don't understand. And they will, but it'll just be sprinkled in with the fiction. And I'm like, I love that. Like, I feel like it could just be fiction, nonfiction, but then at the same time, I don't want to like undermine the genre too, or the authors who write. I don't want it to be a diss by any means, but I wonder if that would get more people reading it. If like
they're marketed with their covers and everything, just I think skews towards a more feminine audience who wants to read that. Like I think it would be hard for men who may have. It sucks, but it's true. Men would have a hard time holding a book that had like a bare-chested man on it who didn't also have a big sword, something like to compensate.
So like for instance, like the marketing of this book, it's called like All I Want for Christmas is a Cowboy. What if it had been called Price Ranch? That's like neutral.
Or Christmas at Price Ranch.
Christmas at Price. Well, yeah, exactly. And so like the subtle marketing can appeal to different genders or different personality types and stuff. And so I always think about that when I think about the titles of a book, where it's like, that's a terrible title.
I mean, because think of so many men who will just openly admit to like, oh, I love romantic comedy movies. I love watching rom-coms. Right. I'm like, so then what's the big deal about reading one? Yeah. I don't understand. Like, what's the difference,
I think it would be interesting to see how many men, like, download these books. That way it's a little more discreet. But because these covers are always so flat, like, because I used to work in a bookstore, so I've seen the covers range from, like, crazy. Like, I wouldn't even really want to carry that because everyone knows what it is. And, like, I just like more discretion as I'm walking around. I don't necessarily want to have, like, half-naked people on the covers of my books. But I think it'd be really interesting to see how many men are downloading these books and reading these books privately and then changing the marketing of them, because I think everyone could use like a fun brain break to just enjoy and watch like a couple develop. I think lots of people want to watch that. I think it's been so integrated into romance to like appeal to a feminine audience that they have to
exclusive.
Well, and I read it in somebody's Twitter post recently, and I shared it on our Instagram, and I mean, the reason women love it so much and it's catered to women is because in these books, women get what they want. It's like the one genre where women get everything that they want, and it's, And it's great. And not just the sex. I mean, the partner, the job, you know, all of it. It all works out for her, you know? So, I mean, it's refreshing.
I think that's one thing that I liked about this versus, like, the types of erotica that I like to read, especially Anais Nin. Because Anais Nin's erotica was actually written for a male audience, but she's a female.
Oh.
So it has this, like, interesting duality to it where she writes about things that are so graphic and yet feminine. And then there's other parts that make me cringe because I'm like, that's really messed up, dude. So it's an interesting dynamic where it's, you know, erotic literature written actually for, like, a private male client.
Interesting.
So that she can pay her rent.
Interesting.
Girl, I've been there. No, I'm kidding.
I want to read that.
But then with this, it was like, it was gratuitous in some ways. Well, it wasn't really gratuitous. It was graphic, but it wasn't gratuitous. And, like, everything was like, yes, that was just the right amount.
Yeah.
That was the right amount of
because they were when they do have sex, it was good. I mean, it was
satisfying.
Yeah, it was satisfying for both parties as well as myself. For me, what I thought shined through the sex was, I thought it was a really good kissing book.
Yeah.
Like they emphasized how important kissing is, and I feel like we put that aside and go straight for the main course. And no, it was really nice the way that Jessica Clare highlighted kissing in this book.
I read some of it late at night, and then, like, my husband's, like, asleep with his sleep apnea machine on, and I'm just like, oh honey, I really want to wake you up and just make out with you.
Yeah,
like, it's just like, it seemed like
it's
such a good
true.
time. It was like, I mean, that's the thing when you've been with a partner like a really long time, like, you forget, like, what things are it's different, and so it's like, it's nice to remember, like, I have a best friend I can
just make out for, like,
hours, and I'm like, I have this best friend and I can make out with you whenever I want. Why am I not doing it right now?
Right.
So, granted, it was like 12:30 in the morning, but, like,
well, now we know what Joel's getting for Christmas. Like, there you go, a nice long make-out sesh.
It made me go to the old school, like, put on the candles, a little bit of music, and then get crawled on by kittens. It'll be great. But, like, it's just like the tenderness and, like, the emotion, like, and the relationship. I hate to call it maintenance. It's not maintenance, but, like, the relationship like self-care kind of thing that you can put in a relationship by just having, like, tender, like, super sexual moments with your partner. And it's kind of like, that's just good stuff. Like, I need to do that.
And, like, redefining what sex is too, because, like, I think, like, it's very heteronormative what we think.
Oh, sure.
Especially when you are, like, in a
P in the V.
Yeah, right? And it's like, that's not all sex is.
No.
And I think, like, that's what I liked so much about this, is that there's different types of sex that they have throughout too. Like, they're not all, I mean, I guess it pretty much always leads to P and V.
Although the first few times, they have some heavy makeout and they always get cock-blocked by the dogs.
Right?
Like the dogs are always cock-blocking them.
Right? Franny's a cold bitch.
God. You just like, had to have your puppies like, now.
I had sex one time and I'm sorry about the results, so nobody else has sex. Really, she's just trying to warn them.
That totally brings me to, like, what my, like, if you don't mind, like, my favorite quote of it
go for it.
Is but for now he could pleasure her and get his own enjoyment out of that. And, like, that to me was, like, the whole Eli mindset. That was, like, what made me, like, so confident. Like, I love her, and I'm like, you really do, because the thought of her being happy and what you could do for her, and, like, that's, like, the thing you want to hit in a relationship.
As opposed to, like, in other stories, it could have been like, no, it's okay, like, let's just do it and I'll pull out, you know, like, I mean, but that wasn't even a possibility for him. Like, he was like, no, this is, I'll just make it about her tonight, like, fine.
And, and it was just, I was just like, and the thought of finding, like, some, like, rural cowboy who's, like, thinking that mindset, I'm like, she is so lucky. And think of all the women who don't have that, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, lady.
Every woman deserves an Eli Pickett. Eli Pickett.
Okay, we have to talk about the names for a hot second, because we both had name problems.
Okay.
So my problem is my one of my new kittens, his nickname is Cass.
Okay. Oh.
So and he has big blue eyes because he's a ragdoll mix.
Great.
So half the time my brain is very creative. I was thinking of, like, Rachel Bilson's body with my fluffy cat's head on this body. You're like, looking for those blue eyes. I'm just thinking my cat's big blue eyes.
Well, there's an image.
I'm like, can we not with this, like, weird macabre, like, animal mashup? Like, it's a cat. So I'm just thinking my little kitten with, like, big bright blue eyes. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
And he never calls her Cassandra to like the end.
No.
Which was Cassandra's also the name of my sister's guinea pig. And I'm just like,
oh my gosh. Why are you guys naming all your pets Cass and Cassandra?
Right. That's your new podcast.
So, what's your name issue? Because I had one too. It's really stupid, but I would love to hear yours first, Cora.
So, loved the name Eli. That was fine.
Uh-huh.
When you find out his full name's Elijah, I had to put the book down because that's my nephew's name. Who's 16. And
oh no.
It was entirely
so you
too
both
much.
had very personal connections to the names.
you're stopped. Mine was the whole time. Just
Mine was dumb though.
She,
For me, it was, this is going to sound so dumb. I hate that one of his dog's names is Jim.
that is a really weird name.
I was
Franny
just
and
like,
Bandit.
Franny, okay, I'll accept that. Bandit, all right, that's like a dog name. Jim.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine someone shouting that, like, Bandit, Franny, Jim.
Jim, come here, Jim. Like, it's just,
Jim.
I don't like when people name animals like strictly human names.
Right.
Like, Preston, how are you?
Yeah.
Come here, little Preston.
No.
Come here, Susan.
Francesca.
Yeah. Like,
but there you go. So that's, I'm sure you can tell my kid.
oh.
So yeah, I'm just like thinking it was this hot, like,
There's
smoky
Cass.
body, and then like that head
Cass
on like
the
a smoky
cat.
body, and it's like big blue eyes. just
On
getting
Rachel
by.
Bilson's
Well,
body.
I don't know why, like petite, like brunette. That's where I like
Oh,
think of like
it's
Cora
too
Dixie.
funny.
Like that's because I was just thinking of like what's something of like some sort of farming ranchy thing. I thought Heart of Dixie, and I loved Rachel.
There you
Bilson,
go.
that
There
Heart
you
of
go.
Dixie. That sounds like it could be an erotic novel.
It could.
show. I'm sure it is.
Heart of Dixie or Hard on Dixie.
Oh.
How does it spelled? D-I-C-K-S-E-Y.
Yes. That sounds like the knockoff porn title. Like,
Yeah. I'll take
Oh
it.
yeah, when they make the port like the
Perfect.
pirates.
And I
with
mean,
the-
honestly, isn't that the plot of this? Because, like,
yeah,
big city gal goes to her family's cabin.
never
meets
makes
a
it.
cowboy.
Got her cowboy
Quits her job to live on the ranch.
in Wyoming.
Ow!
Though she didn't seem very New York. Like maybe it's the
Yeah.
memory loss, but like she had like
She was down with the bodega cats. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty New York.
It didn't bother me, but it's something that I thought about is because I feel like when you have that fish out of water story and they're gonna make this commitment to leave their job that they hate, usually they find a new passion, or something oh, this
Her
is
passion
what
was Eli. That's a
this is what I'm good at. I should be doing this all along. And so I kept waiting for that moment to happen, and then at the end when she takes the job at the ranch, I was like, okay, so I guess that's the passion then, is the ranch, being there with him, but she just really loved the ranch that
I
much.
wish that had been more explicit in the text.
Yeah.
When she, even when she was in New York and she was missing him, she missed him and not specifically
Not the ranch, yeah.
Right. And so I feel like if there had just been a little bit more about that, it would have felt a little bit more
Sure.
But then on the other hand, there's also this that's our feminist brains telling us
she has
you
to
have to have a job, bitch.
It's true. If
can't
you're
just
leaving
live for a
one,
man.
you need to pick a new one.
Right, and I think that there is something to changing your life because a particular person suits you so well that you're willing to just go with your heart and then figure it out. But that's super not feminist, so we're not allowed to like that anymore.
I know, which is so... Well, it's not feminist of us to enjoy these books either.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I disagree. Yeah.
on the heels of that, I'd like to read my favorite.
Great. Hit me with it.
Oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna read this out loud.
Go for it.
I will read some dirty things, but do I read them out loud? That's a different story. He put one calloused finger underneath the silky band and gently tugged it downward. He wanted to pause and admire the sight of the dark curls peeping into view as he pulled the panties away, but was growing impatient to touch her and to put his mouth on her. And I was like, oh, she got pubic hair now too? Shit, yes! That's a feminist win right there.
I liked this one because I feel like this is a fantasy that every person has, man or woman. He grabbed the front of her shirt, his shirt, and pulled it apart, not caring that buttons flew everywhere. Yes! Oh my gosh.
But also hashtag don't fuck up my shirt.
I don't know. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, you just messed up a shirt, but then also like, yeah, rip it off.
Like, can someone sew? Okay, good.
But you know what?
Crochet. So.
They found the loophole is that it's his shirt that she's wearing, so he's consciously ruining his own shirt.
Exactly.
There's definitely that thing like of like you want like balance in between like raw lust, but there's something about wanting someone so badly and being desired like that that is just like really like sad, because it didn't feel like he was like disrespecting her or like ravaging, but like it was like a good, it's like a
because he fully ravaged her once he had permission.
Yeah.
Oh, the consent.
Oh God, she more than gives him permission to, and he keeps checking in along the way.
Like it ticks all the boxes, literally.
Yes.
Like she's got a hairy box. He had a box of condoms. He brought a box of his woke bayness.
Yep. There was a box of puppies.
There was a box of Christmas ornaments.
Bam. So many boxes. Oh my gosh. Did you guys have any other excerpts you wanted to read?
I don't think I have any like long.
There's definitely, and you know what? I'll give them credit. Like there's several sexy scenes like between them. And a lot of it is about her. So
yeah, like it's,
you get it.
Honestly, like it was the first time where I like, if you're like a porn watcher, I usually can't watch like a blowjob scene. They bore the ever living crap out of me. This was the first time in my life where I read like an oral sex scene on a man and was like, yes, like it was like it was realistic. She wasn't like doing something ridiculous. And
that's because in porn it's so like over the top.
Porn, it's usually, especially in heteronormative porn, it's like super aggressive, but it's never like tender.
Right.
Yeah, and like,
and it can be really nice.
Just go at it like that?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've talked to women who like don't like and they think it's gross and disgusting, and that just makes me sad when you find any partner's body do something disgusting. And like, so this was the first time where it was like, it was realistic, it was really tender, and like he was really like thankful, but like in like
he was excited for it, and it wasn't like that would have totally ruined
it was just like he was just like really taken aback in like a really refreshing way, where it wasn't like that was what he expected her to do.
It's it's that beta male that you just don't see a lot
of. But it's not too much like he was like, oh no, don't touch me.
Because that would have also been not cool.
Because once they have sex for the first time, he's pretty open to like the stuff that they're doing. Like the first time he's so like, are you okay? Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to keep going? You know? And then after that, like I love that once they have sex, every time he comes back in the house, he immediately goes to her and like kisses her something fierce.
After 12 years, you have access to it.
12 years of pent up sexual frustration. Like,
not gonna lie, it sounds kind of good.
I think there's also like when they first have sex, like there's even that moment where like if he has sex in 12 years, like, he's gonna come pretty fast. But
he does, though, right?
Yeah.
But he made sure that she was taken care of first.
Yeah. But it's also not, like, there's no shame on him for it. It's not like, oh, that's it. Like,
that's it, yeah.
It's a nice,
I hate
mutual, like, coming together.
Or, like, teenage movies where it's like, oh, he came really fast. It's like, oftentimes it's like, he was a virgin.
Yeah, it was his first time. This might as well have been his first time, you know?
But I think she also, like, reacted, like, the ways some people do, where it's like the fact that like your body is enough for like just being with you.
She was
like,
hot.
Yeah,
she was hot off it too. She's like, oh yeah, he came fast.
Yeah,
that's right. But that's how it like, and that it was just so real and just like authentic, and I felt like I've been in those moments.
No shame.
Or, like, you could see those, understand. Like it just like. It mentally just felt good to read. Like I didn't feel like I was. The only time I again groaned was because I couldn't communicate. But that way, you had some tension somewhere. Yeah, no, absolutely. But, like,
no, I found it a really enjoyable story. Like the only parts that like ever made me feel uncomfortable is when that dumbass boyfriend of her boss was like texting her and like getting up on that. I was just like, oh,
like, oh yeah, I know he's like that. I'm like, you're letting her be.
I know that was so gross.
He was harassing me, and she's like, whatever.
That's your
that was
employee.
awful.
Like, never mind the fact that her and Rose are supposed to be like pseudo friends.
Who cares about the boyfriend?
And your boyfriend is harassing her.
And didn't she say they were like friends in college, and then like that's how she started managing or being her assistant? I was like, this is not your friend. Like yeah.
Oh, and then she would like call her like midnight for girl talk.
Or like I'm back in New York. Okay, pick up my dry cleaning.
Right.
Bitch.
Awful. Awful.
No. I had a head injury and like,
Well, okay, since it's clear that we, all three of us, really enjoyed this story, let's go ahead and give the book a few grades. We're going to grade it for the story, the syntax, and the sexcapades on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the very best. Let's start with story. And Gabrielle, what do you think?
So I did mark it down for the terrible dramatic irony. So I did rate it down to an 8 because, I really wanted to chuck my phone when she left like that because I didn't see it resolving the way it did, and I'm really happy. But I think it did a disservice to all the if that hadn't happened, this would be a book I would so easily recommend. Now it's a book I have to recommend with a caveat of hey, she's gonna screw up.
But just so you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely I like it.
Okay.
Overall a B plus 8, not like a low, almost like a C. Definitely if she hadn't done that, it would be a 10.
an 8.7, an 8.9.
8.9, yeah.
I think that for the story for me, I would probably also rate it maybe an 8.5. I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. Mm-hmm. It was an awareness, okay, this is gonna be the thing where she's gonna go to New York, and So it's almost at that point, when you're watching a rom-com, where you're okay, the characters are doing stupid stuff.
Here's the misunderstanding.
Right. I did overall find it enjoyable, and definitely has a rereading, that's hard to say, quality to it, so I definitely would read it again, so that's why it's not any lower for me. Even though there's a couple things where I was rolling my eyes, oh, okay, so now she's just not going to talk to him at all, pack up her stuff and go. And not have his phone number.
And for me, I also gave it an 8, and I think that dramatic irony also plays into her character arc, and that's what was lacking for me. If anything was lacking, it was that I just saw her not making this full complete arc, and that was definitely a part of it. But yeah, no, I did enjoy it though. Other than that, I thought it was good characters laid out well, which I feel is hard to do too when you only have 2 characters for the majority of a novel.
Definitely.
So kudos to you. How about syntax?
I give it an 8 as well, because there is a repetition of a lot of the same ideas over and over. He's oh, they don't like ranch life, and there were just times where she just she talked like she had a brain injury, some of the things she said nonsensical, and she just but I think it was actually a well written, it wasn't a puff piece. I don't feel I read a lot of celebrated New York Times bestsellers, but I didn't feel I was dumbing down my brain to read this. I felt it was just definitely a lighter, more fun read, but I didn't feel it was a piece of garbage that I wish I'd only paid $2 for. Yeah. So I feel the language was pretty solid. So I think
Good.
This sounds snobbish, but I would probably give it more a 7. Only because when I first started reading it, Eli's character is a very simple person. Mm-hmm. And as you're reading it, it makes more sense that his sentence structure is very short and kind of simple.
Sure.
Not in a bad way, in a clean, very decisive.
He also grunts a lot. He doesn't speak.
And so I almost think that if the novel had started with Cass's point of view, because her point of view is so much more these long, complicated thoughts. And I think that if we had gotten a little bit more of her personality and what was going on in New York that led to her leaving.
Yes.
I think if we knew how much she hated her job and how much she loved her family's cabin, and it's alluded to. I mean, it's talked about a little bit, but I feel if the writer had given us a little bit more of that background, I think that we would have had a stronger sense of who Cass was. Yeah. Because she's gonna lose her memory, and she's not gonna know anything about herself, and so we're not gonna get to learn anything about her.
Right.
And then also just starting out with this more simple cowboy train of thought, which is he was a ranch hand.
He liked work.
It wasn't exactly that. But
he was Sam Elliott.
It was a little bit when I first started reading it, and again, this is coming from somebody who doesn't read romance novels, so I had no idea what I was in for. I was is that gonna be like this the whole time? So, but I do think as it goes along, the writing gets better.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It's maybe the beginning of it is a 7, but towards the end, it's closer to an 8.
No, I think that's a really good point too, and I didn't really think about that, but you're right in that at the end, we get Cass back in New York, but we don't really see her life in New York before she goes to Wyoming.
She's on the road when we...
Right. And there's like talk about like why she's leaving and what she's running from. But you're right. I think it would have been nice to have seen a little bit of that.
Just a quick scene of like Rose being shitty to her as she's leaving.
Yeah.
Would be enough for us to go, yeah, this chick's got to get out of there. And then also, she's going home to her family's home. And she loves Wyoming, because then that says to us, this chick loves Wyoming.
She
at the
has
end,
a setup for why she's gonna leave. She's leaving something awful. She's going back to something she loves, you know?
Right.
No, that makes sense. I gave it an 8 too, so we're all in the same ballpark. I did find that there was definitely some repetition. I highlighted...
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right.
He kept saying, nah.
No.
Like, and that would be his entire line would be,
horrible.
nah. And I just highlighted, it was like, if this guy says nah one more time.
No, the best part is I heard it in Sam Elliott's voice, so it's, nah. I can't do Sam Elliott.
Just like that. Just like that. No, that's fair. Okay, and then the sexcapades. What do you think?
10s across the board.
10?
That was so realistic and delicious.
Amazing. 10.
10. I gave it a 10 too. Oh my gosh. Perfect 10. Yeah, no, it was good. And they were good scenes, but they were realistic scenes, but not like boring realistic, like still good.
Yeah, there was not like fumbling so much.
Yeah.
Like, and that maybe is a little bit more realistic, but totally boring to read, so I don't want to read that. I just want to read that things work. They're a little awkward.
And Jessica Clare restored my faith in kissing, so I am all about it.
I will totally read more things from this author.
Me too.
And with me being critical, I almost, like, I feel bad, like, I didn't hate it that much, but...
No, we really enjoyed it. And I mean, obviously, it's more of us, like, picking, like, little things that we have to pick and everything.
We skipped the cringe line, so we have to do that.
the
We can't
cringe
forget
line.
the cringe, because we have some cringe.
Okay, read me some cringe lines. What is cringe worthy?
I hated the very last line.
Let me see if I have a cringe line too,
God.
because I know that I had a few awkward ones.
So the very last paragraph. Okay, guys. But with his body sunk deep into Cass's and her arms around his neck, Eli finally understood what he'd been searching for. Home was a person, and he'd found her.
Oh my gosh, I highlighted that one too. And you know what I wrote? I said, "Aww, that's the answer to his character arc."
Yeah, it's the fact, like, if he was, like, holding her and, like, he, like, felt that. The fact that he's inside her and he's citing being inside her.
Yeah, that is
what's
weird.
Home is, like,
But then again, you know, he went from being like cowboy sad to being like, I'm home inside my woman.
I know, it's just too edible. Like,
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
little much. Especially with like Maria leaving and like her taking her place and like that's
she's on the property while he's inside her feeling home. So
it's a little weird. Yeah.
I always liked, I told you, I loved the start of their chapters. Like, this one was about, he was missing a cow. Damn it all. Like, just the start to every chapter was really funny. What was this one? It wasn't easy getting an unconscious woman, a pregnant cow, 2 dogs, and a horse through a blizzard, but somehow he managed to get them all back to the ranch without losing anyone. Like, it sounds like a joke, like, a pregnant cow, an unconscious woman, and 2 dogs walk through a bar, into a bar. Like, it's just, I just always giggled at the start of every chapter.
yeah. Okay, Cora's cringe is
Okay. Reluctantly, he pulled his hand from her panties as she slid off him. What was that? Cass asked. That's a strange thing to read. Cass asked. Sounded like Jim. Come here, boy, he called, slapping his hand against his jeans. He'd have the scent of her body there now, he realized, and wondered if it was too strange to fold up the jeans and keep them in a drawer so he could breathe it in every now and then. Probably.
The answer is yes.
But like, I also kind of like that he's like aware of how gross he is.
Yeah.
And then he is a little gross.
That's such
like,
a thing, though. It's
are
always
gross.
like guys keeping the panties or something. At least it's his clothes. At least he's not ripping her shirt off.
He's just like, I just don't, like,
For the rest
as
of
an owner of a body, there's things that don't smell great about a body.
Right.
And I just don't need I don't need a man or erotica to pretend like every scent that comes out of a body is great.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, no, I'm really okay not.
Plus, like, that scene immediately goes into, like, the dog giving birth, and I'm like, did he wash his hands? Did he wash his hands? Did he wash his...
Plus, he wants to save these jeans and drawer. I'm like, bitch, wash your pants.
Right?
Like, just have sex with her some more, or like do stuff with her. You don't need to sniff like 3-day-old vagina on your pants.
So I
Oh my gosh.
I just love that I said that sentence in your parents' house.
Oh, you know, I mean,
Awkward.
had to happen.
It's amazing. No, it's so. Cheers to being adults.
So, cringeworthy lines set aside, were you both happy with this experience?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. But I
Oh,
also
good.
feel like we super lucked out with this book because I could have gotten the eggnog book, and so
if we got an eggnog book, it would have been a different kind of podcast.
Yeah, no, but I'm reading books to me is like a really personal experience in that what people like about books can be very different what you look for, and
Sure.
so it's such a like I feel like picking up a book is such a gamble. You read the synopsis. And then the book can be absolutely not like that. It can be weird and strange. And so it's like, this makes me really excited to want to try more romances. But I feel like this is a really special gem. And I feel like I'm going to get a lot more eggnog stories than I'm going to get All I Want for Christmas is a Cowboy.
There's a lot of great romance out there too, though. And I definitely want to check out more Jessica Clare, too.
She has a lot of books about billionaires, so I'm a little, like, I'm like,
yeah.
So that's part of the alpha thing usually, too.
Yeah,
like,
that's not
it'd be kind of
my jam.
interesting, though, to see, like, what else she's done and if it's, like, kind of
Yeah,
the
I'm
same
curious how
vein
she
as
actually would
this.
write an alpha. I'm very curious to see. She kind of looks like Charlene Harris.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that. You know,
Okay.
Charlene Harris, like, she kind of reminds me a little bit of my mom. So it's always like, you wrote something real dirty.
Good job, Mom.
You look like
Yeah.
you went to a PTA meeting. This is so weird.
What do you think, Cora? Would you read another one?
Totally. Especially from this author.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things I liked about it is that there was, like, the sex was graphic, but it was also, like, there was consent. Ooh, yes, consent. There was a discussion of birth control. Oh, yeah, because that's one thing that always bothers me. It's like, you're just gonna fucking, you know,
Yeah.
like, is she on
She's
GC?
magically on birth control. Like, I don't remember anything about myself, but I'm on birth control.
Like-
I know that. I was... She left her pills in the car, though, so I was
Yeah, she
really
doesn't know
There
who
you
she
go.
is. She doesn't know she took her orthotricycline.
Right.
You know?
She doesn't know her last name.
Right.
I think I also really love the fact that I knew that you guys were reading the book and that we were going to talk about it too. I think that
Yes.
really changes the way you read a book. And so it's like the fact that we were all going to giggle about things together and like cringe at the same thing. And so like that was really...
It's our own little book club.
Of my Kindle reader, like as I was reading, like, oh, I can't forget to like talk about this part and that part. And it made it a little bit more like a social thing, which did make it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this, that I enjoyed this, that all of us got to talk about it, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica Clare, for bringing Eli Pickett into our lives.
Oh, Eli Pickett.
Oh, that's
The
it.
cowboy in my dreams.
To be fair, he's not written as having like an accent, just so everybody knows.
I have no idea what a Wyoming accent
He even
sounds
says
like.
he's not like raised a ranch hand.
Right.
He's not raised a cowboy. He became
He's
one.
an orphan who joined the army, and then he came to work on the ranch.
He just had to find a place
just-
for himself.
Stumbled into a Nicholas Sparks movie.
I even love that there's an epilogue that jumps 5 years ahead that lets you know that they're a couple and they're married and they have a
Right.
kid and they're committed to the ranch life and she still never learned to cook. So it's not like, oh, she learned to cook and now she's the perfect woman.
Right,
No,
that
she's
would've
still
been
She's
terrible
still
terrible at it,
working on
but
it.
she's such like a good person that everyone doesn't care that they have to eat sandwiches.
And they have
for
a
years.
toddler, and they have all their dogs.
Nobody had
Sweet.
to sign a contract to give their life away to anybody. Also, she has the money.
Yes!
I liked too. I
That was a
oh, she's
surprise.
great.
And he didn't want to spend it. He was like, I don't want to like spend your
That
money.
like came
on
out of
my-"
nowhere too, where it's like, oh yeah, she found out she had all this money in the
Yeah,
bank account.
That's the thing I find a
I
little
love
wrong.
finding money.
Yeah, they use this money now.
It's like a fiver in my jeans, but man.
God, yeah, a whole bank account, man, wouldn't that be great? So I thought the last little thing that we could do before we wrap up and do our final Boobs Miss giveaway, woohoo, is talk about fur babies because we are all fur parents to cats and dogs. And this story definitely features a good amount of animals and their very interestingly chosen names. Because we already talked about it. We have Bandit, Franny, and Jim.
Francesca.
I think of Jim from The Office. Maybe that's why it's weird to me.
Oh, now the dog has Jim's face.
Right? There you go.
Now I'm just imagining Jim seeing him wipe his fingers on the jeans.
Well, and so, and
Turns
then...
to the camera with like a disgusted look on his face.
And then Franny has her puppies, and
Oh, boy.
they name them
Frankincense,
Myrrh, and Gold.
also known as
And-
Goldie, Frankie,
And
Myrtle.
Myrtle.
Although Myrtle I kind of love.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that
And
was
then they
cute.
named the other two puppies, because they're like the white ones, and the other ones are the, multicolored ones, Joy and Noelle. So I thought, okay, first of all, tell us about your fur babies. And hypothetically speaking, if you were to have a holiday animal, what name would you choose for your new baby?
I think if I for the holiday baby, I really liked frankincense. I don't think I call him Frankie.
Yeah.
But the fact of like such like an overpowering name for an animal, which I kind of did. So I for Christmas this year, in November, my husband and I just adopted 2 kittens.
Yay.
We lost our kitty in April and the house was lonely, and so we decided to go with 2 this time. So they're siblings from the same litter.
That's sweet.
And I named the boy, and my husband named the girl. He named the girl Hope.
Oh.
So it's like a new start. And we adopted them from Santa Barbara, where my husband and I met in college. And Hope Ranch was a place where many of our first dates were.
Oh.
We just like go driving and listen to music. So we named her Hope. And then our fluffy blue-eyed boy, his name is Castor, after one of the Gemini twins, because Pollux is a really taxing name on an animal. And so we named him Castor, but we mostly call him Cass, with 1 S, no 2. And they actually have their own Instagram, Cass and Hope, because the rescue was so smitten with them that they actually asked us to start an Instagram for them so they
Wait,
could check in.
Smitten Kittens? Aww.
That was completely accidental. But yeah, so they just turned 4 months old.
Oh.
So they're really tiny, and they're getting like their first experience with a Christmas tree. Hope tried to snort some pine needles.
Nice.
Didn't go well.
Don't do pine, kids. Don't do pine.
Don't do pine. And then Cass tried to drink from the water under the tree.
Aw.
Yeah, we got one of those too.
Yeah, so we
My
have-
cat does that too.
We have cardboard like over it to like block them. And then of course there's like the batting of the, and it's really
Yeah.
nice because our previous cat did not give 2 poops.
But
about
now
a
you've got
tree.
little babies that are
Yeah.
playful, and now you just got to get another one and name it Frankincense.
Yeah, I know.
There you
I know.
go.
2 is enough.
Maybe in a few
Twins.
years. Our cat Muffin. This is the family cat and dog. We have Muffin, who's going on 18 years old. So this is like,
Congratulations. That's amazing.
well, she's just like the spawn of Satan. Like, we're pretty sure she's gonna outlive us
she's
all.
just like alive by like hatred for all things.
Yeah, like
Oh, cool.
she meows, and then the meows now turn into like a
Ooh.
like it just keeps going.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah,
ooh.
she has that.
Ooh, yikes. And then Augie is the family dog. And then my roommate and I have we co-parent a whippet named Noodle. Yeah. So I have my dog at home. I have my dog in Los Angeles. It's great. I'm just surrounded by animals. But how about you, Cora? How about you, Cora?
Well, I'll take any opportunity to tell my dog's adoption story.
Oh.
So, and this does take place in November. So,
November's a good time to get
Oh, good.
yeah, I think so. I think it's a good time. So my husband and I on a whim just like went to a shelter because like we'd been kind of sort of talking about getting a dog. We weren't really serious about it yet.
Yeah.
And there was another dog we were really interested in, and that dog was completely indifferent to us.
Oh.
Just, like, wouldn't even turn around.
Yeah, just not having it.
Yeah, not interested in us. And we'd seen this sweet little dog, and we'd actually taken him for a little walk. and he was very, very excitable. He was about 10 months old, so still a puppy and very full of energy, and we're like, no, we're not going to get a dog today. So we brought him back, and they put him back in his little crate thing. And next to him were these like pit bull puppies that were too young to be adopted yet. But we were just looking at them because they were darling little puppies.
Yeah, we're not here to get a puppy.
Exactly, we're not going to get a dog. And the dog we just walked leaned as hard as he could against the fence and started whining, crying, because we weren't paying attention to these little puppies
And not him.
So he picked us. He really did. And his name's Rocco. He is a pug beagle mix as far as we can tell. And he's just the best thing that we ever did on a whim, randomly.
And how long has it been now?
We've had him for 2 years, so he just had his third birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Rocco.
Happy birthday, Rocco. And he's a December baby, so.
Summer baby. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, and then your fantasy, holiday animal. What are you gonna name him? What are you getting? Another dog, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. For some reason, just Yule log comes to mind.
Boosh, you know how to stand Boosh.
I don't know. I kind of like the name Yule. Yule, I think of like Yule Brenner.
Right.
Yule,
Yeah.
Yule, come here.
Come here, Yule. No, that doesn't work.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Log, like Loggins. Log. Come here, Loggins.
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
No, see, that I do like. I do like when people name their animals like after like a
celebrity.
Or this is Shakespeare, this is Billy Shakespeare. I don't know, I love that.
The best one is on Sex and the City where Charlotte names her dog Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, that is my...
It's the best one.
Yeah. When they shout out, Elizabeth Taylor got knocked up.
Yeah. So good. Wow, that's 2 Sex and the City references in one episode. Ooh, yeah.
It just never stops.
So good. I don't know. I think Yule Log's a good choice.
I think a brown dog though. I always want to call a dog like Ember, like something like just like warm, but and just kind of like fiery.
Ember. That's nice.
I like
That's nice.
Little all the bean.
Actually, I used to have a guinea pig, and that's what I was sort of envisioning. So they're just sort of lumps.
So a guinea pig named Yule Log.
Yes.
Or do you get 2 and you have one that's Yule and one that's Log?
Oh, I love that. And the irony is that Log is really active and Yule just sits around.
Oh my gosh, that's too good. Okay, well, I think it's time to pick our blind date with a book giveaway winner. For the 12th day, the final day, until next year, of Boobsmas.
Boobsmas.
Yes. And so this one was pulled from a Twitter post that we had done where it was, what are you drinking this holiday season? What's your go-to holiday drink? And we had everything from, the extreme Starbucks drinks that have every flavor under the sun to just a straight up Scotch neat. That was like one of my favorite ones. And today's Boobsmas giveaway winner is, quiet drum roll please, Mouse and Weens. Yay! I love this podcast, and I told Gabrielle and Cora about it, and I think you've got 2 new fans,
Absolutely.
Mouse and Weens.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Subscribe.
I mean, anybody that describes their podcast as sisters talking about pubic hair, you've got me.
Yeah, you had me a pubic hair.
So congrats to you both.
Oh my gosh, but I've been talking this whole time. I'm like, I like that she had pubes.
It's very appropriate. Very appropriate that they win.
Merch next week. It's all good.
Congrats to Mouse and Weens. And ladies, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this book today.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Did you have fun?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You're not nervous anymore, Gabrielle?
No, I'm not. I'm like, let's just keep going. We want to do another book.
Right?
Another book. Can we come back?
I know. We'll have to set something up and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And without further ado, for one last time, on the 12th day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 12 crotchless panties! Play us out, Cooper, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all.
On the 12th day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 12 crotchless panties, 11 bodice rippers, 10 tubes of lube, 9 naughty spankings, 8 rock hard up, 7 minutes in heaven, 6 billionaires, 5 penis, 3 5 penis, 4 dukes of fucking, 3 butt plugs, 2 nipple clips, and a hot hookup underneath the tree, and a hot hookup underneath the tree.